Welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by some friends and fellow Inter Miami fans, Dave and Jose. And on behalf of the guys, we want to thank you for joining us for episode 30 here on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami. If you are watching live on YouTube, thanks for joining. And if you think that Jose should wear sunscreen when he goes to the pool, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't think that he should wear sunscreen because it's emasculating, leave a comment and explain your answer more. We want to give a huge shout out to our chief Heron Head, Matias. Thank you so much for your generous support. We also want to give a shout out to our other Heron Heads, Art, Brian, Kevin, James, and Karen. Thank you so much for your support. And if you feel so inclined to support us on Patreon, you'll find a link in the description wherever you are listening. And if you don't feel so inclined, that's totally okay too. We appreciate you being here. All right, guys, so Inter Miami have officially been eliminated from the MLS playoff chase. They can no longer make the play-in spots that we so desperately wanted them to. It was a really fun first 45 minutes. Unfortunately, the missed chances that they took came back to bite us as FC Cincinnati won this match 1-0. What were your guys' initial thoughts coming out of this match?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first thing I think anybody noticed was when the lineup card came out, we saw Messi was on the bench. So I think that right off the bat gave everybody some hope. I know Chris isn't on here because he was convinced that Messi wasn't playing the rest of the season, so he decided to disappear on us. But yeah, I think we're all super excited to see Messi was available, and of course when it came on later, we were happy about that. But yeah, the missed chances that we had in this one they were unlucky. I think 2 of the 3 were just unlucky bounces. I think Kramaski had a better shot at it, and his was more of a missed chance. But Toto's chance there off the corner, oh my God, that was beautiful. That if that would have gone in, that would have been so sweet. And obviously, it would have been a 1-1 game if everything else played the same, and we still wouldn't have had the result. But I really wanted that one for him because it would have been such a clean strike for him. But yeah, I think everybody's in the same boat that it hurts that our season ends against Cincinnati. But yeah, we have plenty to talk about, and we still have a couple games, and there's definitely a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately we're like pretty sad about it. We're devastated, but we're kind of hoping for the outside chance that Messi was going to come in, wear his Superman outfit and just take over, But I mean, look, we had brilliant moments. We played as good as we could. I felt like we played very well. There's more. There's definitely a lot of good to take away from the game. Just the result was the only bad thing that we can't take away that we're happy about, But yeah, we played the best team in MLS, and they did, and we played up to them. So it's just unfortunate. We just didn't capitalize when we had the chances. That's the problem, because when you look at the amount of opportunities that we had, and that's I can't get mad at that. What I can get mad at is how we didn't show up in the last 2 games. Right? Who did we play already last time? I already forgot.
Chicago, NYCFC.
That Chicago game was horrendous, and we didn't show up. And that was heartbreaking because at that point we're kind of like hoping we still had the chance to grab the bull by the horns, and all of a sudden like now we have to hope for this guy to lose, this team to lose, and today it wasn't happening. Nobody was losing that we need to lose. So.
Yeah, you knew that was going to end. I mean, we controlled our destiny. We said this in the preview. We controlled our destiny, and then all of a sudden we didn't. And you can't put yourself in a situation where you're having to rely on other outcomes, because they're just never always going to fall in line. And the most important part of all of this was for Miami to continue to win. They had opportunities to do so against lots of teams leading up. It wasn't just Cincinnati, but it was a lot of games. Atlanta. We had NYCFC, as I mentioned, Chicago. There were a string of matches, and granted, Messi wasn't playing. so he couldn't affect it the way he affected so many games prior to that. But yeah, Miami didn't take care of business. They didn't handle what they needed to do to continue to control their own destiny. And in the end, this is what we end up with. Today was a microcosm of that. It was Miami had the chance and they couldn't put it in the back of the net. And at the end, they lost their opportunity. Messi came on and played more than everyone was saying that he would. The plan was for him to come on for 15, 20 minutes, and he played for 40 minutes officially. But even he couldn't save us because of the position we put ourselves in. It's not his fault by any stretch. He was on the mend, and they wanted to make sure that he was at top fitness, which is understandable. He's the crown jewel of this club, and he needs to be protected, and made sure that he is 100% right so that we don't affect his long-term playability for this club and for his career.
Yeah, I mean, and what sucks is that that we did have. I mean, what I was just questioning also when we had the momentum, it got to a point where what was the swing? It started to swing. I would say, I would say this in the second half it was already started to swing, but it still hadn't swung yet. I almost feel like our substitutions were not what we needed, or probably the people that we needed to take out. Because up to that point, I felt like Joseph was a bright spot. To be honest, Julio, I know you hate to say it, but it is what it is.
I can admit when he has a good game.
Yeah,
Unlike when Robert Taylor does anything or Drake Callender does anything.
Did Robert Taylor do anything today? Let's be honest.
As a substitute, no, he did not.
No, but Drake Callender did. He absolutely did. He saved us. I'm not gonna say that the last goal was that little bounce that he on the first touch. It's a shame. I kind of was hoping that it wouldn't go right to the freaking guy right as he's making a run. Actually, I believe they said on the broadcast they were like, sometimes you can control if you can kind of try to put it towards outside of the goal. I mean, but that's certainly at that point we're getting picky because there's two prior saves that he did that were pretty impressive.
Yeah, the problem is you're expecting perfection from Callender to give us a chance,
and that's impossible. Yeah, that's impossible.
This has been the same issue that we've had the last few matches. Is we can't find the back of the net. They're playing with a force field in front of the net, and we're getting decent shots off and good chances to get points, and you can't win. And we've said it before, you can't win these games without scoring. So until they can figure that out and crack that nut, I mean, it stinks that it ended up costing us the season, but
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
And it's unfortunate that we took out Toto, right? Toto was having a good game. I thought Joseph was having a pretty good game. Right, and we also took out I'm looking it up.
Well, to the point of Toto, it felt like
Krastev. I didn't like the way he was playing, so I was like, why don't we could have.
Toto was playing better than Krastev, I would say. He had more of an impact. His fingerprints were more on the match. He was more noticeable in defense and attack. But that had to change the system to go more attacking. He had to go for it. By the end, he subbed off Yedlin for Taylor.
Yeah,
just to put another attacker on the field.
And I don't disagree with. I understood what they were doing at that point. They were like, okay, we're just going to play with pretty much three guys in the back and see what happens. Although they were coming back and forth, right? But it was pretty much three guys in the back. But yeah, and Ruiz was having a pretty good game too. Maybe also to complement Messi, they had to make some of these changes. Maybe Ruiz doesn't flow so much. I'd say it was. Maybe. Because it didn't make sense to me when he did it, because I was like, okay, like he's literally, I didn't understand the substitutions.
I agree with you. I think Martinez was having a good match to his credit, and also he's the only healthy true striker, and to take him off, especially so early. It was the 55th minute to take him off so early when you need. This guy. I've said a lot of stuff about Joseph Martinez, but I've always said that he's a good veteran striker, right? He gets the big moment. He's been to the very top of this league. He's been a top goal scorer. He's lifted the MLS Cup. He knows what it takes in these moments to come up big, and to take him off. Like, I do agree that was a mistake. I don't know if I don't know how much fatigue has played a factor in some of these decisions. I'm not a manager, obviously, so I don't know all the factors that go into these decisions, but it just felt like that was an oversight. You need, like, if you need to score, don't take off the natural striker.
Yeah, he's a sure shot, right? Not from all the guys that we have, I feel like I'm very trusting of him when he's taking a shot.
Yeah, not having Campana available means that I'm sorry, but Martinez had to play the whole game, and it might not be fair to him or whatever, but we don't have anything to replace him with. We just don't. And if anybody was going to replace him, you would think it would be, and it stinks, but like who else would be the natural replacement? Because I'm sorry, Farias is not a striker. So
No,
maybe
not at all.
Robbie Robinson, which is not what you want to put there anyways, which means you have to keep Martinez out there, barring injury.
Yeah.
You have to keep him out there. It's a bad situation. I mean, it's a big reason why we've failed this season in the regular season is that we don't have a complete roster. This club is not built properly right now. It's in transition. Tata took over in the middle of the season. It's a transitory club right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to start looking ahead to the next season, but we'll be seeing what moves get made and things like that. But right now, we don't have a replacement for Alba when he's out. We don't have a replacement we don't have a third striker. There's a lot of holes and deficiencies with the club. So it speaks to Messi's greatness and Busquets and Alba, how much of an impact they were able to do. And also, I want to give Tata credit too, because he did incorporate these newer signings in the middle of the season and found success with them in different periods and at different spurts. But yeah, nothing really clicked all at the same time for this club. We either had one going off or another. Somebody dropped, somebody picked it up. So it'll be fun. I'm still excited. I think you can't not be excited.
Yeah, there's lots of promise. You know that we have to make moves this offseason. You know that there's glaring deficiencies. We've talked about Noah Allen. Just too many times to even count. We talked about Noah Allen. They just don't even guard him. They don't even defend him on defense. When he gets up, yeah, of course, because they're not guarding him. They're not putting anyone on him. They're just being like, okay, yeah, cross it in. What are you gonna do? Hit a little sputtering ball into the box?
Yeah, Messi hit it with a beautiful pass, and it was in space. I was like, what are you gonna do? Let's see what happens.
And what drove me nuts is Taylor Twellman.
I think he turned around and like, I don't know what
Taylor Twellman had the audacity of saying that he actually really likes Noah Allen and he's a great project. And almost immediately after that, they passed it to Noah Allen in a great spot where all he had to do was tap it to somebody. And Noah Allen fields the ball and he bounces off of him and he has 3 or 4 touches. And then Twellman immediately is like, oh, imagine if he would have touched it. I'm like, dude.
You've never seen this guy play in your life. I was so sure he was going to commit a penalty when Cincinnati really was pressing and they kept having possession in the box. There was one point where Bupenza, was dribbling right in front of him, and Noah Allen was sort of trying to find a way to get the ball. I'm like, he's going to give away a penalty right now.
Like, Bupenza, did you see when he subbed off with Acosta?
Yeah, they were having some words with each other. But Bupenza kept giving the ball away when they could have just milked minutes off.
He had Acosta open.
Yeah.
I won't say I counted at the end of the game probably 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That I was like, dude, he's wide open. Oh my god, this is gonna be horrible for us. This is gonna be horrible. And it's a horrible pass after horrible pass. I was like, all right, this is going great.
I think Acosta was in the right to be upset completely. And Acosta's the heartbeat of this team. Like, good on Acosta for getting after him. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about Miami. Yeah. There were 3 shots in the first half that I want to talk about. All 3 hit the woodwork. And it makes this so much harder to take because if any of these shots go in, completely different game. So the first one, and what I think was maybe the best opportunity of the 3, off a corner kick, we swing the ball in, which thankfully we swung it in because every time we took a set piece and took it short, it was a disaster. But we swing the ball in on the corner. The ball kind of jostles around, and Toto Aviles, standing right in the middle, right by the penalty spot, is completely alone. Like, no one was around him. And the ball takes kind of a big bounce, so he has to wait for it to come down, and he just smacks it with his foot out of midair, his long giraffe legs, and the ball just rattles the crossbar, immediately leading to a Cincinnati counterattack, of course, which I think Callender had a save on that one.
I think that's the one that they had a good shot at it, and it just went right.
Gotcha. So yeah, Toto Avila's fantastic opportunity. It was really unfortunate the way the ball bounced. It took forever to come down, and he took it probably higher than he wanted to, and the ball was just it started high and it kept going,
Floating.
and really unfortunate. It was point blank. Keeper was well beaten. That one was tough, and it was so early. I was like, okay, good start. Keep it up. At that point, you're still feeling the game out, and you're like, okay, this is really promising. Having a dangerous attack, showing Cincinnati that we're coming for it. And Cincinnati looked kind of maybe like heavy-footed in the first half. It seemed like we were really, really pushing for the goal. And man, we got close a number of times. What did you guys think as the Aviles shot was going on?
It hurt. I felt like that crossbar. It was just reverberating. I was like, oh my God, how did that not go in? But then you couldn't even stew over that shot at all because of the counter. Of course, if Toto's the one taking the shot at the top of the box, then that means that if the ball's going back the other way, that they're already down one defenseman. So you didn't even have time to really appreciate that shot. I know later they showed the replays, but I wanted it so much. That one, I wanted that one more than any of the other ones, just because of the clean look he got. And anytime you can have a defender get a goal with their feet, not just a header on a corner, you really appreciate it. But yeah, that one of the three pained me the most.
Honestly, though, David, like I would have taken all of them, but I agree that one was such a pretty shot because it also speaks to like great job finding these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a new addition that we just found and we plucked away and we inserted mid-season. I like this young guy and he's got a lot of runway that we
19.
We can really. I mean,
that's a good project.
I always talk. Yeah, that's like it's going to be very interesting to see the amount of if these guys get sold, how much money these guys are like.
Jose's ready to off everyone.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. These guys, they can make some good money on these guys.
We have a deficiency of quality, and he is trying to sell a kid before he even really takes off.
I think here's what we should do when the regular season is officially over, after the 2 Charlotte matches, we should do like a who's staying, who's leaving episode, and have Jose sort of host it. And give his list. There's just gonna be like Messi staying, Alba staying, Busquets is staying, and everyone's gone.
It'll look like a garage sale. There'll be price tags on everything.
Everything's negotiable though.
This is the thing.
No, Alan, I'll give you $2.
Look, today we could have done with a little bit more quality around the.
You don't say.
So guess what? You know who we have to sell? The young guys. I don't have to tell you. We have to sell the young guys to get better guys.
You don't have to sell anyone.
We're gonna sell people, David. It's coming.
You don't. I know, but you're saying we have to sell young guys to get better guys. You don't. This club they don't have to sell anybody right now.
They might have to.
Who do you think they're signing that they have to sell somebody and selling Toto is going to get us him?
I think we're going to go after Modric. If we go after Modric, I think that
Modric isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, they confirmed earlier this afternoon that Modric was staying in the January transfer window. At least we don't know about next summer, but that would be a mid-season transfer for Miami.
Another one. Well, I was kind of hoping for that one, to be honest.
I mean, I
was really hoping that.
I'm hoping for any world-class player to join.
I don't think selling Toto would make us able.
No,
to
we're not anywhere near.
I think if we're gonna get those guys, they'll figure out how to get those guys. I don't think that selling Toto would, like, I know we're not selling Toto, but I don't think that would be what's gonna push us over. Okay, now we can get Suarez because we sold Toto. Like, no, we probably get Suarez and keep Toto.
No, we're gonna get him. But what I'm saying is that ultimately this is a new group of investors. They just they've had this team for a while, right? And I don't know how much money they've made making on this team. They're trying to get a new stadium coming soon. They want big names. That's this one thing that we've known of this team. They've tried, they've swung, and they've missed, but they're gonna keep trying. And in December, we're gonna have a new rules. There's gonna be new rules for MLS that I'm looking forward to because I think it's gonna open us up.
Right, I know, but that's why I don't want to talk about selling anybody until we know what those rules are.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And when I say selling, I'm not saying now, David. I'm saying this kid's just 19. Why would you sell a kid that's 19? You gotta wait. You gotta wait for him to get better and better, and that's when you sell him for 40, 50 million. Not that we will, but I'm just Just saying.
Yeah, I mean these young guys especially, that you need them to like
You
they
need
have
them
the
to get
promise,
better.
but they need
Yes.
to They need to hit some
Yeah.
stride. They need to get to like a Lucho Acosta. Like, wow, this guy can totally dominate the MLS. He can really be a serviceable, even a stud in Europe. You need to get them to a point where they're really performing, and then you can maximize the value that they can provide you to the point that's met by the demand in Europe, where they're like, okay, yeah, we're willing to pay because we get it, we see it. Obviously there's scouts that are very talented and they can identify young talent, specifically like teenagers and very early in their 20s before they've really hit their prime. But yeah, we like these guys that we just brought in, we're not selling them like between now and next season, at least in my opinion. Who knows? Before we like really dive into that,
Yeah. That's another episode.
let's talk about the other chances that we had. So I think the second one, was it Kramaskis or was it Joseph Martinez?
I think Martinez was the second one.
So Joseph Martinez, I was
sure.
pleasantly surprised. Well, let's just talk about the Joseph Martinez. I'm not sure what the timestamp was on it, but I was very pleasantly surprised. And Martinez wasn't the first to do this, but we were taking shots from all over. We were peppering the goal, which is what we've been pounding on our desks for them to do. You need to get shots off. I don't care if they're on target. I prefer if they're on target, but I don't care if they're on target as long as you're shooting. Keep the goalkeeper honest. And Joseph Martinez was running to his left. He was across goal, outside the penalty area, takes a really nice shot, goes across the keeper's body and bangs off the woodwork again. And then I believe it deflected out. That was a good shot. And that's part of the reason why you keep Joseph Martinez in this game, because at any moment he can really unleash a very powerful, very accurate shot in an angle that maybe the keeper's not expecting, because again, the keeper was beat with this shot. Unfortunately, the woodwork was there and it met the ball, and it didn't lead to a counter directly, but another moment where you're just like, oh, like when he took it and I saw that the keeper was beat, I was like, yeah, let's go. And then woodwork.
Yeah, you're just waiting.
So disappointing.
You're just waiting for the back of the net to ripple on it, and it just never reaches, and it's so disappointing. But that's a shot that I was like, man, I wonder if he's gonna rip it. And then right after I thought that, he let it go, and I'm like, man, that's a rough angle, and there's traffic in front of him, but no, the ball gets through, and that's why you feel good about those types of shots, because you have to try something. And I think of the three shots that we're talking about right now, that was probably the most improbable one to go in, just because of where he was and the situation. Yet that one I think was a 50-50. That one could have gone in. It was a little unlucky with where it hit in the post. But yeah, of the three, I think that one was the most difficult shot. The next one was Kramaski's, and I think he had the easiest of the three attempts. And we'll talk about that one in a minute. But man, it hurts. It hurts. You have so many chances. You have so many shots that are just inches away from being great.
And as they were happening, David, I think I texted. I was like, man, unfortunately, there's going to be a decline. This isn't going to keep happening. We're not going to keep peppering this guy. And unfortunately, these are moments that are happening in the game. And it kind of flowed the same way as the last time we played them, to be honest. They actually, Tolman, I believe, said it in a broadcast where it's like, both teams are getting great opportunities. They're both getting great opportunities, and this was actually before even Messi got on the pitch. It was just we did very well against them. We played them very well. It's a shame. I mean, did you know?
Uh-oh.
We had in possession percentage, okay, 62% possession against the best team in MLS.
I didn't know that number, but it felt it.
I felt it, and I don't even know. I would love to know what it was in halftime because I felt like we had 80%. It just felt
they were countering us. All of their opportunities were off counters, which again that's been an issue.
And it led to the goal. It led to the goal by Cincinnati.
Oh, but that one was a turnover. Alba,
right? And it was a counter.
Busquets turned it over really, really high.
Yeah.
And oh man, I just couldn't believe it.
Which is a shame because he's
dead.
Game,
Busquets is dead tired. You could tell.
He's played so many minutes.
Playing dead tired, and that Messi was mad at him for the turnover, warranted. But dude, that guy's been a workhorse.
a machine for us. A machine.
Mhm.
All right,
I
so
mean,
before we talk about that goal and Busquets, let's just wrap up the Kramaski attempt, and then we can just ramble on about everything we want to ramble on. So Kramaski gets, to me, it was an identical opportunity to the chance he missed against Chicago. A ball played in behind, Kramaski's one-on-one with the keeper, keeper's rushing out, and Kramaski tries an outside the boot over the keeper, bounces off the crossbar. And that one, as soon as the ball's played into him, in the split second, my mind, like my synapses were like boom, 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 boom. Kramaski like is thinking about last match, and like all these things are flowing through my head. I can only imagine what was flowing through his head, because if I'm thinking all these things, he's thinking all these things. And sure enough, he lifts it up too high over the keeper, and it bounces off the crossbar. Nothing comes of it, and that, like you said, Dave, probably the best, like if you put an XG calculator on that shot, probably the best opportunity of the three. Maybe Toto's is up there, but it was more difficult because the ball was in the air. Kramaski had this ball at his feet, and man, like that one, it would have been so good, not only because it would have been a goal finally, but it would have been like a redemption arc from the Chicago match where you're like, okay, boom, we can move on from that moment, and we never have to relive that ever again. It's like when Campana in the Nashville Leagues Cup final, when he missed the opportunity at the very end of the match, and then he stepped up and took the penalty and made the penalty. Like, it's like, okay, close chapter, on to the next one. Now Kramaski's got to sit and be like, I missed against Chicago one-on-one. I missed against Cincinnati one-on-one. Both goals would have completely changed the dynamic of this match. I feel I'm disappointed. I feel bad for him because he's very talented, and I thought he had a really good match. He's had kind of a rough string of matches. I thought he played really well. He has a high motor, but it was smart. It was smart. He used it at the appropriate times. He didn't just kind of run like a dog without a leash. He was just going after it at the appropriate times, and really unfortunate to miss that chance.
Yeah, and it was, unfortunately, it was just I don't think he just took it well. It, of the three shots that hit the woodwork three different times, it hit the bar in the spot that there was just no chance that ball was going to go in the right direction. It was on the outer half of the bar. So yeah, he was just juiced and amped about it. So he just took it a little too hard. And again, it's expected. 19-year-old kid.
It's gonna happen.
Show me the progress, and he's shown enough this season that I don't feel too bad about it. He needs to grow from it. And yeah, that's why you would have liked to see it hit the back of the net, because then that would take pressure off of him for the next match. And granted, yeah, we would have still been in it, but this game was just a lot of that feeling. Dang, so close.
Think about that though. You're talking about 18, 19-year-old kids, and we're saying what? Let's give them time to get better, right? Now they're gonna have a full off season with the expectation that we've had now with Messi being brought on. They're going to be practicing with this legend. It's going to change how their progression is going to be super. So I'm excited to see it. You know what I'm saying?
And it's also the time to grow within Tata's system as well.
Yes. Very important.
This is midway season, a coaching change. Name me a sport where that's going to go well. Like, that's very difficult to pull that off.
Yeah, we'll do a full postmortem, but this season was a success. Like, it was a success. It just was. Messi's worked, obviously. We won a trophy, and yeah, we didn't make the playoffs. I think we came closer, despite now, when the dust settles, we'll probably miss it by probably close to double digits. But we came closer at this point than a lot of people thought we would. A lot of people thought we would come nowhere close. With 4 games left, we control our own destiny. If you had told me that heading into, like, out of the Leagues Cup, heading into the league play, if you had told me that with 4 games left, we would have controlled our destiny, I would have said, yeah, I'll take it. The season was a success. It ended with such a whimper because Messi missed all these matches, Alba missed all these matches, but end of the day, this project, this experiment has been a success. 2024, we're going to be title favorites. I don't care what any other team in this entire league does. We're going to be favorites.
Think of it from this perspective. Toronto, worst team in the league, they signed some major European pieces. They signed Insigne, Bernardeschi. They signed Bernardeschi.
Yep.
And look at them. They look like a disaster, and they look, these pieces aren't working. We should probably get rid of them. imagine if that had happened with us. Imagine we get Messi and we get Alba and we get Busquets and they fall flat on their face. I remember, was it Rooney? I always forget. Was it Rooney who said
Yes.
that Messi had a heart? If he thought this was going to be a cakewalk, he had another thing coming. Well, you know what? He almost immediately won a trophy. So it's and he showed. I remember everybody saying it was scripted, that everything was too easy for Messi, and this was making a mockery of the sport. Well, look, I mean, it's difficult because it is competition. You get dinged up, but yeah, I think everybody's happy with the way that it. I mean, you're not happy with how it ended, but we're happy that we came away with real progress and hardware. So again, there's a lot of things that still need to be sorted out. Players that need to fill in. Players that are in right now need to learn the system, and yeah, people need to get healed up. And I think next season is gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped for it. I mean, just everything you said about from the coaching change to the new players that they're not even accustomed. We don't even have the guys that we want for the system that we're running. I'm excited. There's a lot to look forward to, and as an Inter Miami fan, and I was hoping we'd make more noise just to be even more obnoxious and just have people just get more upset. That would have been so fun. It is what it is. It's fine. We got we got taken out. That's fine. We'll come back next year. It'll be. I think what's fun about it is that these players that we have. Do you imagine if we would have had Jordi Alba today? Like, instead of Noah Allen getting all these open runs, do you imagine that being Jordi Alba, a world-class left back?
I mean, I've said it, and I think some people it's rubbed the wrong way when I've said that Jordi Alba is the one position that it's been the most difficult for us to replace because of the style of player that Noah Allen is and his capabilities, and what Jordi Alba brings to the table. It's just night and day. And yeah, we were Tata. The way Tata made this work, it was through the wingbacks. Noah Allen isn't a wingback. I'm sorry. He's decent if you just have him back there, which is why that one match he played center back, he had a pretty good game because he's just there and he's just staying back and you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, it's been our weakness when Noah Allen's in there, and it's like my one thing with Tata is you have to be able to adjust. And when you know you're not going to have Jordi Alba in there for a long stretch, then he's just doing the same thing over and over and over, just trying to force a square peg into a round hole with Allen and just playing through him. And yeah, you're seeing it the last 3 games. He's wide open in attack, just begging for somebody to pass it to him. And today, Messi was like, he makes the right soccer move and he passes it to Allen. And it's just immediately it's dead. It's a dead play.
Look, he reminds me, David. I'm gonna put you on blast. He reminds me of when I play pickup basketball with David. David is left at the 3-point line, and David is always open. And I pass it to him.
I'm open. I'm shooting.
I pass it to him like, here we go.
Hand down, man down.
Yeah, and so David comes out with like, Jose, if you pass it to me and I'm open, I'm shooting the ball. I don't care. And I'm like, okay.
Jose has yet to pass.
I can't argue that. I never pass it again.
It's true. Listen, we when we say that Jordi and the drop off after Jordi is greater than Messi and the drop off to whoever fills in his place, it's not out of disrespect to Messi. It's out of disrespect to Noah Allen. But it's like if you have eyeballs in your head and you're watching these matches, you can just see the touches that he takes, the passes that he plays, the defense that he tries to play. It just feels so off. It feels so clunky. It feels like he has like concrete blocks for boots, and the ball's just bouncing all over the place. You know, it's really hard to just identify one thing that he's good at. Like he's kind of just a bot. Like he's a placeholder. He's a placeholder for Alba. When he was the starter before Alba joined, every time we watched a match, we were like, this 32 needs to get off. Like he needs to. I don't understand what he's doing, what he brings, what the manager sees, but there's no depth, and there's no depth on the right side either. And that's something that will need to be addressed in the offseason.
Yeah. And I feel bad. Like I don't want to bully. He's just a kid. I don't want to be just picking on Noah Allen, but this is a professional club. and you expect a certain level of play. And unfortunately, that's why it's like I kind of want to blame Tata, because I'm like, you're putting him in this situation. You know what he is. And I hate to pick on a player. I really do. I love this club, and I want to see Noah. Maybe one day he just transcends and he becomes great at what he does. You root for it. It just hasn't happened at all. There's been no glimpses of it.
And I'm going to add to that, David. So we like the wing backs, right? The left wing back and the right wing back. Moac 14 is saying something true, where we talk about Allen a lot, but Yedlin, I'll tell you, man, he slipped pretty badly. Like we haven't, I don't know the last time he's had like a very good game that we can say, wow, this is an amazing game by Yedlin.
Kansas City, when he crossed the campana.
So that
was it. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. So it's like one of those things where it's like this. I don't expect him to be back next year. I don't. That's something that I'm thinking. I'm like, man, imagine if we were to not have him, upgrade our right back as well. Just upgrades everywhere. That's what I'm like. I can't wait just to see what we tinker with.
He's less of a deficient. Like, to me, if you have like our needs, right, we need depth at both positions. So I don't know if we can afford to lose Yedlin, because you still need two then there, because you need a starter and a backup, a competent backup, not Robert Taylor.
Yedlin will be competent as a backup if you would allow it.
Sure. Right. Professionally for him, he might want to be a starter wherever he goes. And then left back, you just need a backup to Jordy in case he gets injured. I mean, these guys are getting old. You can't realistically count on them to play a 34-game season plus domestic competitions and international competitions that we're going to be a part of. And you need to have another layer of competency of players that understand what's going on and how to sort of play within the tactics that the manager deploys. Because right now the drop-off is too steep from both sides, from Jordy's side and from Yedlin's side. When you don't have either...
There is no replacement for Yedlin. That's the other thing. They only have 3 wingbacks that actually play. The fact that we put in Taylor and Ruiz at the Yedlin spot just shows you that there's a complete deficiency on the roster. And that's, again, something that should be and will be addressed in the next season.
That game that I was at, that you guys blame me for losing.
The U.S. Open Cup final, by the way.
Yeah, the U.S. Open Cup final. I felt so bad for Yedlin that game, just getting wrecked.
Got cooked. Got cooked that match.
It was so sad. I was like, man, this guy used to be really good at soccer. It was just like, wow. This guy was just running around them. He was like, he was making him stumble. I was like, this is not going to end well for his career after this game. But yeah.
I will see. In the comments, I've noticed a couple of people have gone after Facu. And I agree. The last few matches, there's been a drop-off. But what we saw when he first started coming on, he showed that he has talent, that he has ability with the ball at his feet. He has good dribbling, good ball control. And the issue I've noticed with him is the same thing I've noticed with Kramaski, and I warned about with Ruiz, and I think that he did that warning a little too much and just benched him the last game. But they're young. These guys are young, and it's hard for them to maintain that same level throughout, and you expect ups and downs with them. And right now, I think Facu's on a low right now, and that's been an issue. But I refuse to say he's on the same plane as Noah Allen, because Facundo Farias has shown a lot, and he's actually done a lot for this club, creating chances and things like that, where Noah Allen has maybe made 1 or 2 good stops defensively and 1 good pass since I've noticed that all this season. So I don't think that it's a fair comparison for the two. One's having a bad run right now. Noah Allen's had a bad career.
Well, let me, talking about the young guns and the ups and downs, where would you right now, after we've seen a sizable sample size from all of them at this point, Toto, Ruiz, Gomez, Gomez, and Kramaski, where would you rate them right now? Who are you guys looking forward the most for? Their run. Who do you think has the most upside?
As it stands right now, I still put Farias and Toto 1 and 2. I think Facu's technical ability shines to me. he has the ability to beat defenders one-on-one, and I think that's something that is extremely valuable for any team. Look at Cincinnati, who we just played, Lucho Acosta, right? He can take players one-on-one. He was torching us with his little flicks and tricks. Facu can do that. Okay? And if we're talking about some of the front runners for MVP, it's Acosta, it's Hani Mukhtar. It's these players that can completely take over a match just from their playmaking ability. And I believe that Facu has that. We've seen a down period right now in his form. But as far as the building blocks, I think those are there. Absolutely.
We've seen the glimpses.
Absolutely. And then Toto, I think, is a tremendous defender. We know he has his issues lunging out of position, but he is stout and he is long, lengthy, can get up and attack at the right moments, play really nice passes. You even had Taylor Twellman speaking well about him, which might be a curse.
Today, his athleticism shined today.
Absolutely. He scored the goal against NYCFC as well. Dangerous on set pieces. Like, these are all the elements you want in a big defender. And he's super young, considering that his age.
Long passes from deep as well.
Right. Yeah. Considering his age, I think he has a fantastic trajectory. And then I look at Ruiz and Benja very level. I think Benja and Ruiz are different players. Benja, to me, is a more attacking-minded, while Ruiz is a more well-rounded midfielder. I look at them sort of as equal. And then Gomez, I'm going to put it last just because we haven't seen too much of him. He had a good little stretch where he kind of got into form, but then he got injured in the international break. And since then, we haven't really seen him. We saw him in the one match.
Right before he left, I liked what he was bringing.
Me too.
The light bulb clicked on him.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing him just because the jury's still out on him.
Yeah, and they brought him on late too. So that's another one that, with time in the system, we'll see what he does.
Tata likes him.
Yeah, I mean Tata. I mean, these guys were brought on with Tata. Like, he had input with bringing in these younger players. So we'll see. I mean, it's tough. You would have liked to see more from Farias today. I understand. I'm in agreement with everybody in the chat saying that they want to see more from him, that he's not enough. I disagree with thinking that he's not enough, but I'm excited. Again, I think that the young guys that we brought on this season all have a nice bright future, and they have a spot on this club. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, a very fair question. Before we start, wrapping up and talking, like putting a bow on the game, I want to let everyone that's here live know, even though mathematically we're eliminated from the playoffs, we are going to do really deep dive discussions about these topics, what's going to go on in the offseason, who needs to get out of this club, who we should bring in. So while I'm super grateful that everyone's here right now, make sure that you guys are subscribed, turn those notifications on. We'll do like live Q&A sessions where we're discussing these things. I know tonight's episode was kind of an amalgamation of the Cincinnati match, and we started already looking ahead. It's just by the nature of things, but I want to make sure that everyone that is here, we super appreciate you guys being here, and we want to let you know that we will be discussing these topics more at length down the road. Like, now that the season's kind of wrapping up, we'll definitely be talking about these topics more. So FC Cincinnati scores off Busquets giveaway, as we mentioned briefly earlier. I think he was in a tough position. I don't think it was his worst giveaway that I've ever seen. Maybe he could have done better, but immediately Kubo, who had recently subbed on, and when he subbed on, I was like, Kubo, he's the guy that had that really nice shot in the U.S. Open Cup semifinals against us. Kubo rips a shot near post against Callender. Callender saves it. I thought he did okay. Sure, he could have deflected in a different way, but that's kind of hindsight. And then Barreal gets on the end of it and just goes far post where, Drake was way out of position. There was no way he could have done anything about it. So deflating. Cincinnati really grew into the second half, so it was kind of coming. It had come off of a string of corners and set pieces, and it felt like they just constantly had the ball in the box against us. I mean, I was just sitting there stressed for a good 20 minutes. And sure enough, they broke through, and
it was coming.
Disappointing because you immediately think about the first half chances.
Mm-hmm.
Just brutal. Yeah. But that's why Cincinnati are where they are. They can withstand. They can shut you out. I mean, they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and they have a super potent attack. I mean, we saw some rockets by Bupenza. I don't think Brandon Vasquez got a hold of any good ones, but I mean, he is. I like him very much. When he played for the U.S. men's national team in the Nations League, I think it was, he really stood out to me. And they just have talent at every single level. Every single level.
Yeah, they're a complete team. That's what we strive to be. That's what we want to be going forward. We love having Messi and Alba and Busquets, but we need to be able to rely on everybody. Everybody needs to be on the same level. Of course, no one's going to be on Messi's level, but everybody else, the floor needs to be raised on this team, and it'll get there.
Yeah, it absolutely will. You could listen. This was the petri dish. This section of the season. So we've seen we've Tata has seen, and the front office has seen how these players are going to perform, who raised their level, who didn't, and now it's time to start looking ahead. I think these next two matches against Charlotte going to be a huge sort of experimentation by Tata. We're going to start seeing players that we haven't seen in a while. Get some run underneath them. Maybe we'll see some happy birthday Ian Frey. We'll get Sailor in a couple matches. I think we're going to see a lot of tinkering just to see and prepare for the off season and all the movement that may or may not come based on the rule changes. But I think this is the time now where Tata's really going to figure out, all right, who's got the chops to be here next season, because next season it's full steam ahead from day one. It's not going to be, we have 12 matches left. It's going to be everyone's at zero. And we got 34 matches ahead of us. We got international and domestic competitions to play in. We're going for it now.
Yeah, it's tryout time. They want to see everybody who hasn't had a chance to play, which includes Robbie Robinson, Stefanelli, all these young guys that I know Stefanelli is not that young, but a lot of these guys that we would like to see exactly what they bring, because Tata wants to make sure the pieces fit moving forward. And there's only one way to really see what somebody does. Training isn't enough to see what they're going to do. And yeah, I've noticed this comment here. How's Gregore? He's somebody that he was the bright spot on this team in the first half of the season. And it really stinks that we weren't able to see him lined up next to Busquets. Hopefully he factors into this club moving forward. And yeah, I think there's pieces. There's definitely pieces in this club that makes sense. So we'll see.
Yeah, Gregore was the heartbeat of this team, and he got injured pretty early in the season, which was unfortunate. One of our better players last year, and you would think, you don't know, right? Like, you don't know. I don't want to say you would think he's going to be here next year, because you just have no idea. But he's someone that, like I said, he encapsulates Inter Miami. He's the heart and soul. Yes, we were the worst team in the league before all these transfers came in, but it all started going downhill the match against NYCFC, that Gregore got hurt with essentially a season-ending injury. We haven't seen him since. That was match day 3, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just been not a lot of communication from the club on his status. We knew that he was coming back to training, and then I think I heard somewhere that he suffered a minor setback, but it's really been hard to get any information. Just like Messi, we haven't known what the real issue is. We don't know if he's injured. Is it long-term? Is it not? Is it fatigue? Is it scar tissue? So the club is very tight-lipped about these sort of things, so it's very hard to get accurate information about these.
Another thing that's hard to understand with the club is, did you guys see what happened at the end of the game with Messi, with the kid that ran on the field?
What happened?
So it seemed like a young kid. He went on the field to say hi to Messi or whatever, and what ended up happening was the security guard his bodyguard just shot out of a cannon, just intercepted it. But then Messi called him over and he signed his jersey. He took a picture. I don't understand. If you're there to stop fans from jumping on the field, what? Because he's a kid? I don't understand. No, it was cool. It was a cool moment. I thought it was nice.
There's a fine balance, right? There's a fine line. If it's like a grown ass man, like charging, he's a threat. He's an actual threat. If it's like an 11-year-old boy, like
when this kid does it, it's okay. When I did, I have to go to jail.
David does. It's not only do you go to jail, but the bodyguard just puts you into the ground, David. The guy looks like Jason Taylor in his freaking peak, and he's about to just plant you. It was. If you watch the video, maybe we'll share it. Man, he shot a cannon, that guy.
Oh, he has to, man.
His
Dude,
job. He doesn't know if the guy has a knife or a
absolutely.
gun. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's a kid, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's an animal, by the way. His bodyguard, I forget his name. It's with a Y.
Built like a tank.
Beast. So guys, I think we're gonna wrap for the night. You know, it's been fun doing these episodes. I think it's a little bit of a cathartic release after we have like disappointment to come on here and talk with everyone. It's great to have so many people in the chat. Really fun interacting with everyone. You guys have brought a lot of really good points and comments. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing a lot of shows talking about the off-season moves, things that we want to see, things that we're hopeful of, players going out, players coming in. So, you know, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to hear when we're live. As always, we'll tweet on our account or send out on Instagram at the Heron Heads. So make sure you guys are following there. And as always, from all of us from the Heron Heads, thank you so much for stopping by. This is the Heron Heads, your first stop for all things Inter Miami, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, guys.